Hi there. Haven't made a video in a while, and I just finished reading Noam Chomsky's latest book, Global Discontents, Conversations on the Rising Threats to Democracy. So I figured I'd make a video about it. I've read a few of Chomsky's books now, and I've come to conclude, and I don't say this as a criticism, but his political books all seem to talk about the same stuff. Again, I'm not complaining. I can't speak for anything he's written in regard to his work on linguistics, but his political material definitely shares a common theme. The only thing new in his latest book are the most recent developments in the current affairs he discusses themselves. His well-known criticisms of U.S. foreign policy remain unchanged, and that of the West in general remained unchanged. Having said that, I figured I should go through a list of 6 things I learned that I did not know about prior to reading this particular work. In the first chapter, State Spying and Democracy, the interviewer asked Chomsky if there are any continuities between the Bush and Obama presidency. It was here that I learned that, contrary to my previously held belief, Obama was not responsible for troop withdrawals from Iraq. George Bush had already signed an agreement in 2007 that withdrawals would commence in June 2008. In the same chapter, I also learned that Obama was responsible for crackdowns on whistleblowers more than any other president combined, including Bradley Manning, Jeffrey Sterling, Stephen Kim, Thomas Drake, and John Kiriakou. Third, in Chapter 5, Chomsky discusses the 2015 attacks in Paris, in which the Charlie Hebdo journalists were killed, and how a journalist with the New York Times described it using the words, "the worst attack in living memory." Chomsky was quick to point out that NATO bombed Radio Television Serbia journalists in 1999, 16 of whom were killed by the attack. From what I've learned already, having read previous books by Chomsky and others, the crimes of the U.S. And the West in general surprise me less and less all the time, but to deliberately attack and kill 16 journalists seems uniquely barbaric. Fourth, Chapter 7 discusses the fact that as early as 1981, ExxonMobil, the world's largest oil company, knew about climate change 7 years before it became a public issue. Instead of informing the public, they went on to fund climate denial in the media and continue to profit off it. I think I actually already knew this from Naomi Klein's book, This Changes Everything, but I figured it was worth mentioning here. In Chapter 8, Chomsky talked about the Cuban Missile Crisis, how it is well known, but how the fact that the U.S. had sent missiles to Okinawa and Turkey 6 months prior to the event were less known. Another case of aggression only being condemned by the U.S. when it is the victim, but ignored when it is the perpetrator. The last major thing I learned was from the following chapter, how the glaciers in the Himalayas are rapidly melting, and since they are a source of clean drinking water for India and Pakistan, both of which are nuclear powers, with already high tensions between them, it could easily spark a major conflict in the near future. He concludes the book on an optimistic note by basically saying not to spend time worrying about these things, but to spend time organizing. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm the Concerned Canadian. Please subscribe.